must know that we receive answers from God first by asking in prayer. No assumptions. Asking in prayer. Are you ready for number 4? Listen carefully. The physical delivery or manifestation of our answers happens primarily through the ministry of men. The physical delivery or manifestation of our answers happens primarily through the ministry of men. If you don't know this, you will hear yes in the spirit and it will never manifest as yes. There is a difference between receiving and having. Receiving is a spiritual reality. It is by faith in prayer. But having means the experiential manifestation of your desire. And I'm saying, when you have received in the spirit, the physical delivery or manifestation of our answered prayers happens primarily through the ministry of men. You need to know this. This is the reason why, in spite of the fact that God is the God of all heavens, you are gathered today, the ministry of men. That means the total recipe for receiving results is the God factor plus the men factor he has anointed and ordained. It does not just stop at God. Are we together now? And there are 2 kinds of men you receive from. Number 1, they are called vessels ordained by God, like men of God. Number 2, they are called helpers of destiny. Take note. These are the 2 kinds of men primarily whose ministry affects your manifesting answered prayers. Number 1, vessels ordained by God. Vessels ordained by God. Are we learning now that the physical delivery, the manifestation of our answered prayers happens primarily through the ministry of men? And I'm teaching you that there are 2 kinds of these ministries of men. Number 1, vessels ordained by God. How do they sponsor that manifestation? By speaking over your life, by bringing prophetic instructions. 1 Samuel chapter 1, please. I like this. 1 Samuel chapter 1. We're reading from verse 10. Perhaps for the sake of time we might just jump. Now, the Bible tells us about the man Elkanah, and he said he had 2 wives. Are we together? Hannah and Peninnah. One had children and the other was barren. The Bible says she was in bitterness of soul. Watch how she received the miracle. That she, Hannah now, was in bitterness of soul and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. Very quickly, let's run. It says, and she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt look upon the affliction of your handmaid and not forget your handmaid and give me a man child. Are you seeing now? She didn't just ask for a baby. She said, I desire a man child. Then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor be upon his head. In other words, he will be consecrated to serve the Lord. Next verse. The Bible says, it came to pass as she continued praying. Are you seeing prayer there now? Asking in prayer. Eli marked her mouth. He saw her moving her mouth. Hannah spake in her heart and her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. So Eli the prophet thought she was drunk. 14. Eli said unto her, how long will you be drunk, madam? We've advised you people, all these church members, stay away from wine. Are we together? That's what he was saying. He was rebuking her. Verse 15. This is what she said. Hannah answered and said, no, my Lord, you are in a mistake. This is not a woman who is drunk. I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I have poured out my soul before the Lord. Verse 16. It says, count not your handmaid for a daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief I have spoken hitherto. What a woman. Watch the power of the prophetic. Watch the power of ordained vessels. Verse 17. And Eli answered and said, are you seeing the ministry of men? She had received in prayer, but it had not manifested. He said, go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. You would think because she was done praying If she had just left like that, Samuel will never come. Eli said, I have a role to play. I am an ordained vessel. You want to have that baby? Let me speak over your life. Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant thee thy petition. Go to verse 20. Jump to verse 20 because of time. Verse 20. Wherefore it came to pass, when the time had come about after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, and she called his name Samuel. Help me, saying, because I have asked him of the Lord. This is why I got the child. She named him Samuel. Reason that I have asked of the Lord. Routed through an ordained vessel, God has answered me. For someone, your Samuel is arriving. In the